Hello and welcome to another episode of Dave Trippin Couch Therapy, and this time the topic is your career is a dead end. Something I've heard often enough myself, whether it was here in Japan or I was back home, and I think from the demographics that I observe watching the videos that I make, probably something you've heard yourself or are likely to hear in the very near future or repeatedly again in the coming years. And I think it's really good to discuss because this is something, if not mentally equipped, can really wipe you out, which is horrible, and it never should. It needn't when you hear people say something like this. And I really enjoy the sort of different, call it facets, that inform exactly what a career is. And so I'll go through all these different things. There's language as an aspect of it, there's technology that is an aspect of it, there's the coming future, all these different things. And so to jump in, to begin with, kind of the most basic thing that we could possibly discuss is language. And people make the mistake of equating language with actually being the thing that it describes, when in actuality, language is a series of symbols and is no way actually representative of the thing that it describes. It attempts to, that's the point of it. It's trying to, but it could never actually do it. For example, if you go to the actual definition, which I have written down here from the Webster Dictionary, a career is a field for or pursuit of consecutive progressive achievement. There we have a string of different symbols coming together to form this other symbol, and symbols are always unique given the perspective that is looking at them. And so I guess more simply what I'm trying to say is, this is the long way around, that whenever somebody looks at a career, they're going to look at it differently. You can see even in the description there, consecutive progressive achievement. Well, what does progressive achievement mean for you, for me? Of course, it means something entirely different. Maybe somebody sees progressive achievement as becoming the best writer in the world, and that would bore somebody out of their mind. Another person wants to become the greatest engineer there ever was. Another person doesn't. That concept in itself is incredibly simple. But when we forget this, when somebody tells us you're in a dead-end career, what we'll do is we'll project our understanding of what a career is, and that someone has told us that that is a dead end. When really you should realize, first off, that they're describing something that actually has nothing to do with you. They're describing what they feel, and what they feel ultimately doesn't matter at all because it's your life. So when somebody says that, that's the first thing. Just philosophically, these people can shut the fuck up. Their opinions don't mean anything. As for the different value systems that we have in our lives. Now, I would want to, because that's sort of like philosophical, meandering discussion of what exactly that is. I want to now root this in a little more, call it like earthbound topics that we could go into, which are really, really interesting as well. So a career, as described again, usually, without being philosophical about this, is a consecutive progressive achievement. So that sounds like something that you can do for a long time, right? At that very basis. Some of these things are never going to go away, like surfing, provided the oceans are still there. Someone will always be able to surf, but the more traditional understanding of a career is not usually surfing. It would usually be something like, say somebody who's going to be an engineer, or somebody who's going to be a scientist, or depending on your value system, maybe you're going to be a taxi cab driver or something like that. But here's a mind-blowing fact for you, which I don't think gets discussed as much as automation, but I'll discuss that after. Right now, if this is particularly important in the sector that I'm in, because they're trying to equip students for the future, for these future careers, is that it's known, it's admitted freely, and every country is kind of scrambling to deal with the reality that, I don't know the exact statistics, but kind of the basic meaning remains the same, is that within the next 10 years, something like 75% of the careers or jobs that people will do not now currently exist. So you can see right there that anybody who has even been saying this for the past whatever period of time is ignoring the future, or even worse, pretending like they know what it is that's going to happen, when in reality that statistic basically tells us we don't know what a career will be, even regardless of our value systems. There's going to be so many different options and so many different things that you would do that you won't really know in the next 10 years unless you're getting into something and you're staying current and you're continually educating yourself as to what a new opportunity might be. Probably most important in the coming years, to go on a bit of a tangent, will be people's ability to continuously learn and adapt, which older careers weren't so concerned with. It used to be you would learn this, you would master this, and then you would do that for the rest of your life, where things change so rapidly now, that won't be the case. But that's going on a bit of a tangent. Basically, the idea that I'm talking about there is that so many careers we don't even have yet that will be what people are going after. So we don't know what we're talking about when we say that's a dead end, because we don't even know what will be our career. The thing that would be a dead end doesn't exist yet. So now to talk about the next thing that I sort of touched on very, very briefly there, again touching on this idea of dead ends. So automation. Unless you're living under a rock, you can't turn around without being pelted in the face with a new article that's discussing automation and all the different impacts it's going to have on almost every single industry that exists. And this is like incredibly vindicating for me, because like over 2 years ago now, I was talking about, in a video that I did on my channel, about how automated vehicles, I said, you know, I can imagine in the near future that one of the things they would do for this is they would automate shipping fleets for cars. Truckers would probably have to worry about their jobs being taken by automated fleet vehicles. And in the comments, people are like, oh, hell no, that's impossible. It's too complex, blah, blah, blah. I've seen so many articles now already talking about how that's going to be one of the first industries at risk. And there's a lot of people who drive trucks as a career. So that's one of the things. But again, when I've looked at these different articles, and I don't believe they're exaggerating, there's just too many of them to confirm this, it's almost every single career path that you can possibly imagine is going to be replaced by some sort of automation. And this is in the degree of 60%, 70%, 80%, 100%, huge, huge numbers coming in to replace what people would traditionally call a career. So even if we were symbolically on the same page, in the coming years that are now approaching, nobody knows, and what once was a career just isn't the same thing anymore. Now, that may seem all a little uncertain, and you might worry, you're like, well, now you've told me basically I don't know what my career will be, and all the careers are disappearing, this, that, and the other thing, and so it may sound a little hopeless. But here's another little detail that I'll kind of finish off the video with. I love reading biographies, and I love, because I love relating or seeing what spark did this person have that led to this amazing life. And I can tell you unequivocally, every single person that I read, the most shocking feature about them was that they're so like you or I. Einstein is a fuck up. Believe it or not, he was an idiot. He was socially alienating. It's a wonder that he eventually succeeded as he did. But anyways, the point that I'll draw out of this is that every single one of these people that amounted to be the most memorable in our human race's history had huge periods of time where they didn't know what they were going to do. And this is when careers were a much more certain thing, that you could actually reliably know what was going on, because the landscape of technology and careers was far more stable than it is now. But in the same hand, not only did they go through these periods of time and find eventually what it is that they should do, but that those rough times always in some way informed their development later on. And so these periods of time where even you yourself question, what is happening? Why can't I succeed? Why can't I move on to the next thing? Always, as I've said in recent videos, think of these as opportunities to, you've heard this old thing before where it's like, it's easy to be happy when everything is good, but we are challenged and we grow in difficult times. And every single one of these other people that I've read Tesla, I've read Lincoln, I'm now reading Einstein, I've done Teddy Roosevelt, all these people weathered these storms and failed in them too. They didn't always come out the other end immaculately, but they made it through. And crazy as life is, somehow it was always linked to the later success. So our down points are just as important as the up. It's been said, it should be said again, so we don't get lost in these times, that we don't recover from them. So those are my thoughts on a career and supposed dead ends of careers. It's basically, I just think when somebody says that to me, like, end of the day, without making a video that's 10 minutes long about it, it's like, you really haven't thought about this much, have you? So there's, I hope, a little hope for you. So if you enjoy this video, please do like, subscribe, and share the YouTube chant that we always do. I would really appreciate it. Follow me on all the social media that I would have linked down below. I got a cool video hopefully coming out for Saturday that I'm working on. I'll work on tonight. I appreciate the support. If you want to check out my Patreon, there's cool stuff going on with that. That'll be in the links down below. If you feel like reading a book, I always put my ebook down below. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Ciao for now. Thanks for watching. Peace.